is. Like who he is with everybody is who he is with all of us as well.
Sometimes I think, how can you just be so marvelous? How can you be so fabulous all the time? How can you not have, you know, bad times or depressions or whatever, you know? And I mean, he'll have them, but then he's like, okay, can I change it? No. Can I fix it? Yes.
My history with insurance and American National goes back a long time. My father was always a great believer in insurance, especially life insurance. And he and my mother became clients of American National shortly after they got married. Well, in California growing up, I was also a Boy Scout. Was very, very active in the Boy Scouts, became an Eagle Scout. Well, my scoutmaster and my youth leader was an American National insurance agent. I'd see him as a scoutmaster, but when he'd come to my home, he always had a suit on. He actually, back in those days, even wore a hat. And interestingly enough, he sold some insurance to my parents, and they were both turned down. He had some real wisdom and said to my parents, he said, don't let this happen to your son Kenny. Get some insurance on him now. And so I remembered that event. My first marketing conference that I made, I got to go on that marketing conference with my scoutmaster and his daughter. He was still an active agent with American National.
I've been a business partner with Ken now going on 30 years. He's always been there. He treats everybody fairly. He treats them as he would want himself to be treated. He constantly worries, am I making the right decision?
There's clients that have become very close family friends, and that he's helped in so many ways, in any way that he can, and they're very loyal to him and they love him, and that's because of who he is.
The services that I am receiving for what American National is able to provide to me with Ken Gallagher as their representative really has blessed my life and has provided that security and that safety that has been a comfort to me and to my wife and to our children.
Ken was my first mentor in this business. He brought me into this business, taught me the core ethics and philosophies of this business and what it takes to succeed. He showed me what true leadership is, and he leads by example.
When you're being led by Ken Gallagher, you know he loves you. It's just not a word. When you have a victory, I think he gets more joy out of our victories than we do.
That's kind of what personifies Ken. It's not that it's about him, it's that he wants to help whatever team he's on to take the pennant.
Ken demonstrates how much he cares, and people realize that. It's not lost on Ken that, you know, his success is their success.
My dad always cared about his agents. Like, that was something that was very evident growing up. Like, all of his agents are practically like my uncles.
I quickly learned as an agent that I was part of his family, and anything that I needed, he would help me just as if I was one of his sons.
He always makes everybody feel like they're his favorite. That makes sense.
I think he approaches the business very, you know, methodically, and there's a real benefit in that. He's very thoughtful and deliberate about how he, you know, looks at the business, brings people into the business. He invests in learning for himself. He goes out and sees people from other companies, other agencies to learn. I mean, he's a real learner. There's a discipline in that as well.
My mother was the most disciplined person I ever met in my life. She was part Native American, part Norwegian, short in stature, but very strong individual. And observing her discipline in her life, I believe, is where a lot of that structure came into mine. Very early on in my life, I got involved in martial arts at 17. And I believe that had a great influence, especially as my mentorship came from two primary instructors. One has now passed away, and the other one, Chuck Norris himself.
And then when I just started doing my television series, it took all my time. I had no time, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I thought, you know, am I going to lose this foundation, this organization? And I talked to Mr. Gallagher. I said, Mr. Gallagher, would you take over and run this organization for me? He says, I will. We would not have this organization if it wasn't for this man right here.
I like to think that he's put his fingerprint on some of the wonderful things that have happened here. Because I see Ken in so many things that American National does.
Everybody who has known Ken or has met Ken on any type of basis, whether it's American National or the karate organization or our church or even me and the kids and the grandkids and all the family and friends, that their whole thing is, wow, I knew Ken Gallagher.
The insurance world doesn't know my dad's martial arts world as much. And the martial arts world doesn't necessarily know the insurance world. And his church might not necessarily understand all of those other accolades. So I think he's going to have a trifecta legacy.
This has been the most fulfilling journey that I could have ever imagined. I never dreamt that this career would turn into what it's turned into. If I can live this life with my wife, my children, my grandchildren, my extended family, my managers, my agents, my clients, if I can live this life with their life being a little bit better because I was in it, to me that would be my legacy.
When I first joined American National almost 26 years ago now, I heard the name Ken Gallagher long before I ever met Ken. Bob Friend, another Hall of Fame inductee, spoke very highly of Ken. I now feel very privileged to have known Ken for nearly 25 years. Ken is a true professional leader, as you heard in the video. Ken is one of those great individuals who always gives as much as he can to others, never expecting anything in return. He is very exemplary in living American National's values. Those who know Ken, they know how much he loves and cares for his family, and how he considers his agents, his MLGAs, and American National part of his extended family. Ken is one of those rare individuals who not only dreams big, but he develops plans and works those plans until they become reality. And then he dreams even bigger. Over the past 25 years, I have thoroughly enjoyed traveling the world with Ken at all the marketing conferences. I can tell you that at every one of those marketing conferences and on numerous other occasions, Ken is always thinking about how he can bring his agency and now his region to the next level and help others succeed. A few years ago, I had the privilege and honor at a Gamma International annual meeting to introduce Ken Gallagher as the first multiple line president of the International Association of General Agents and Managers. I now have the distinct privilege and honor to introduce Ken Gallagher as a member of the American National Multiple Line Hall of Fame. I'd now like to invite Mr. Ken Gallagher to the stage. Ken?